All right, ladies and gentlemen, Gungans and droids across our beloved empire, welcome to today's video where you and I are going to tackle the boogeyman known as Conquest. Now, don't click away just yet. I know Conquest is in a terrible state right now, but two reasons why you want to really watch this video. Firstly, we're going to go over a updated forum post. This is going to be the closest the developers are ever going to say sorry for effing up Conquest so much. There's gonna be some important changes coming next time around that's gonna undo some of the garbage they did here. And secondly, the most important part of this video, it's been a while since there's been a data disk combination that was really broken and fun to use since the deployable cooling systems. We're gonna show you a data disk combo that'll hopefully get you guys the max crate, and it feels like you're hacking Conquest, and hopefully we'll get a lot more people Boba Fett, Scion of Jango. So first things first, come on over to the forum post. So I want to show you this really quickly. So there's a lot of problems of Conquest. I don't want to outline it all right now. We did a whole video the other day. This video is going to be mostly an instructive and helpful video in regards to Conquest here, but there were many problems of Conquest, two of which being they split up the scavenger nodes to farm, for example, Boba Fett, Scion of Jango, or Maul, and data disk, where you had to pick between the two. Well, now they said, again, this is the closest you're going to get to sorry we're screwing up Conquest so much. This is kind of them saying they went too far this time around. The next Conquest will no longer have simultaneous data disk and merchant nodes following a mini boss encounter. Huge complaint. A lot of people missed out on some shards because they didn't know they split it. The merchant node will be swapped with the data disk node, and the merchant will appear a node or two later. This way players will not have to choose between either obtaining a data disk or engaging with the merchant. Good. I mean, I don't want to say that's amazing. I mean, they're just undoing some of the garbage they did this time. There's still a lot of other garbage in the room, but at least they're undoing, cleaning up some of their mess. Secondly, another concern that was happening is that they increased the energy for normal mode, and they're going to be reverting it back, and that's great. I think more people want to just have more uses out of their energy than some extra Conquest credits per battle. So long story short, starting Conquest 11, they're going back to 15 energy per battle for normal. So that's great news to hear. Again, a lot of other problems in here, and I think a lot of these are going to stay in place in terms of what we are complaining about, especially that hard path that they're doing, which is absolute trash. But let's talk about this. This is going to assume you're going to come across the right data disk. I have two accounts that I'm running Conquest on, and unfortunately, I have not been able to come across the data disks yet on my free-to-play account. But chances are you're going to come across some of these, and it seems like the theme for this Conquest 10, 11, and 12 is going to be applying debuffs, which then convert into applying thermal detonators and kind of building on top of the debuff mechanic, and it compounds into tons of thermal detonators, and especially against preloaded turn meter teams or teams of crazy high speeds. They're just going to dig themselves in their own grave and help you get through battles without having to do anything. It's basically taking the Jawa functionality and making it useful for everyone out there. And here's going to be the moral of the story. Thermal exhaust, as well as things that apply damage over time. Now, if you're someone that's having a hard time outrunning opposing teams out there, you're really going to want to try to find as many caustic emissions as possible. Unfortunately, I do not have enough caustic emissions to really make this work. I only managed to find one. But the moral of the story of what I have here is I'm using thermal exhaust, and I'm also using volatile accelerator. Now let's read this together. When an ally deals damage to an enemy, that enemy gains 5% turn meter and 1 damage over time. Okay, well, the blue one, as we see over here, I actually go down a little bit more. The green one down here is going to apply 2 damage over time. So let's say you're doing a mass swarm. Imagine how many damage over times are being applied. And as a result, that's going to lead us into thermal exhaust. Whenever an enemy gains 5 debuffs in this green data disk, for example, they gain 2 stacks of thermal detonators, which can't be resisted. And I also have another one, another thermal exhaust. When they get 5 debuffs, they gain 3 stacks of thermal detonators, which can't be resisted. And here's the funny thing too. You get a lot of compounding happening. So when you're getting all these thermal detonators applying, it seems like it's also compounding itself and applying even more thermal detonators. So when you're applying all these damage over time, a volatile accelerator, for example, and you're actually doing damage, they're basically, once you get like a couple moves out and the thermal detonators start going, you're good to go, and the battle's basically won. Now, I do like the idea of caustic emissions a lot more. It's a cheaper data disk. You can get a lot going, and every single time the enemy is taking a turn, they're applying damage over time to itself. They're applying thermal detonators, which is going to turn into more thermal detonators, and they're just going to make themselves poof away. And this is one of the best ways to handle all those over-prepared 3s and 4 teams out there. So let's go ahead and show you how this works. Oh, and I threw an Amplify Agony. I think it kind of pairs well because of all these thermal detonators, damage over time's applying. It's allowing them to deal 6.63 max health damage to the enemy, so it's going to make them die off even quicker. I would rather have 2 more caustic emissions than that, but unfortunately we do not have caustic emissions. So I want to show you how this works, and there's a lot of ways to make this work. Obviously, one way, for example, is to, oh gosh, yeah. Don't you like how creative this Conquest is? In order to knock out the Fennec, the Boba, and Han Solo things, you put a god tier character in the lead slot, whether it's Jedi Knight Luke, a galactic legend of some sort, General Anakin Skywalker, and you hopefully have them carry the win so you can make progress towards your global feats that we have here. So it's trying to minimize how many times I got to reuse Boba Fett over and over again. We're almost on the Fennec Shan as well as the Han Solo one here, but we still got to make progress towards the bounty hunter ones. That's another pro tip. If we're going to be stuck with these weird global feats that reuse the same characters a bajillion times, the best strategy is to have a god tier character leading the charge and then throw in those 3 other guys here. So let's do this. I have to knock out a feat that requires Imperial units defeating enemies on the field. So I just want to show you an example from a high level, what it looks like. Then we could show some other examples that might be lingering out there. So let's try this. We're going to take these guys out for the time being, and let's do this. Darth Vader lead. What goes on a Darth Vader lead? Well, if you have the Zeta, it's going to keep the debuffs locked in place for the damage over times. And when they expire, they reappear. And what happens when they reappear? They're reapplying, and therefore the thermal detonators are going to exponentially grow. And that's where the fun is really going to begin. You know, we're going to do something, we're just going to go crazy here. Let's just see how many damage over time we can get here. I just want to show just how many debuffs we can throw on the field here. And then I don't know, why don't we go ahead and let's just throw in a couple other things. Let's throw in Moff Gideon's demoralized in here, and let's get a taunting tank of some sort. So we don't really need to, we just want to get through this at the end of the day. And that's what the main goal is. You want to try to get as far as you can in Conquest, and that's where these data discs are going to come in handy. So this is over prepared 3. I kind of cheated. I looked ahead. This is over prepared 3. So this is a situation where caustic emissions would have been so incredibly helpful, but I just don't have enough to make it work here. And that's what the point I really want to make is that if you have caustic emissions, this is going to be a lot easier because they would have had so many thermal detonators on them right now. But again, that's one of the problems with Conquest. If you can't get the right data disk, it's not going to work. So there we go. That's when the magic starts to happen. Look at that. I just did 1 AoE on Ki-Adi-Mundi, and here he has 15 thermal detonators, and basically his grave has been dug. It's game over for him. We're going to apply more damage over times. Look at that. Look at those thermal detonators. Holy cow. This is the most excited I've been about data cards since deployable cooling systems, because the past ones have been very bland data discs. And that's the point I'm trying to make. Unfortunately, as I said, the data discs that I put together, I have to take some action to get those things going. But once I do one attack, it's all downhill for the enemy. And that's why if you're having a hard time outrunning them, get those caustic emissions and keep the thermal detonators on, and they're just going to dig their own grave. I mean, look, we don't pretty much have to do anything else. We don't got to do anything else right now. I mean, they're basically done for at this point. There we go. 1, 2, 3. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. Here, do another AoE. Just had fun of it. There we go. Look at that. 51, 45. Look between the damage over times and thermal detonators, they're done for. And this is extremely fun against Darth Revan teams because they get so much ferocity. They're going to just pretty much poof in 2 seconds. This is by far one of the best data discs you can possibly put for these next few months. That's why I want to put this out there. We're still kind of early on inside of this Conquest 10. I want to make sure we get this info out there as early as possible. So let's see. So here's a situation where I can't quite get what I'm looking for. I want to find more caustic emissions. Amplify Agony will work well with what I have. This is actually a little bit better than the one I currently have. So let's move forward a little bit and let's try a different type of team. So that was a team that just kept recycling the damage over times through the Darth Vader lead. So now we got this Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker here. And why don't they have overprepared? I don't know. Let's give this a shot real quick. I've been using my Jawas a lot because Jawas already applied a ton of thermal detonators. They're the Alto team. You win by doing nothing. Well, now, yeah, they're already going to apply those thermal detonators passively because of the Jawa scavenger through salvaged equipment. I'm sorry, through lined in the sand. Now, as we're applying those 2 thermal detonators every single time we're being hit, that is going to just turn into a mess for the enemy. So let's go ahead, give it a shot. And hey, we might knock out the Hokey Religions feat that's coming along with these. And we're going to figure out a way to get that Gamorrean guard to work because unfortunately, I do not have a great one. Look at that, 17. Look at this. I don't gotta do anything, baby. We're hacking our way to a new Boba Fett. Now, unfortunately, we gotta get Luke to get some thermal detonators going. Let's see. Can we maybe make some stuff work? All right, let's see. Looks like he has nothing to do with that. Might be a special modifier. We might have to double check what's going on here because it looks like he didn't get any sort of, let's see, escape the sun, remove all constrict. Okay, yeah. Victims of the almighty Sarlacc. All enemies. All right, for whatever reason, we weren't applying anything on that Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker, but as you saw right there, they really dug themselves their own grave. Let's cheat a little bit. And you guys saw earlier on what we were using. We were doing this Eternal. Actually, let's try this. Let's do a different team. Let's go ahead and maybe try the Mandalorians, because the Mandalorians have a lot of assisting, which is going to triggle. We're going to triggle all of our damage over time, which is going to translate into juicy damage, or our thermal detonators on our opponent. Let's do Jango Fett here, and I'm going to throw in Wat Tambor. Hopefully Wat does not get stunned out the get-go. But check this out. All right, so we're going to try to trigger that frenzy at Maul. And I want Maul to call everyone in for the assist, and hopefully we can get lots of damage over times going. And as a result, get those thermals going. So let's see, who's Han going to go for? All right, we're beautiful. Let's go ahead. Unfortunately, it looks like we can't get Canderous up and running. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to pass this on over. Let's pass this on over to Maul here. All right, we're going to give it to Maul. There we go. Beautiful. All right, let's see. It's unfortunate because I wanted to do the blast tech open mod over there, but it is what it is. So we're going to open up with an AoE here real quick. There's the thermal detonators, 24 stacks. Hopefully they're going to dig themselves their own graves here. All right. Okay, let's keep it going. Keep it going. 24, and there we go, and he's gone. Now watch this. Now we're going to call the assisting. And Ev, look at that. Boom, 12, 15. He's pretty much done for. Let's go ahead. Drop another one here. Bada bing, bada boom. There we go. All in on the Wookiee. 36. He's done for. We can stop working on him. We're going to start getting thermal detonators over on Han Solo. Look at that. I mean, so many freaking dodges right now. It's kind of annoying at the moment. There we go. 20. He's basically all set in stone. All right, let's see. Can we maybe try to get a kill over? Actually, we still have one more stack of ferocity here. Let's go ahead, drop that over here. He's gonzo. All right, let's go ahead, do one of these. Can I try to kill him off? All right, he's down for the count. All right, let's go ahead and actually give this on over to, you know what? No, screw it. Let's go ahead and do a mass swarm on Lando. There we go, 9 stacks of thermals. All right, let's see if we can try to kill him off here. Let's see if we can maybe do a double tap here. There we go, we're hitting him once, hitting him twice. Free real estate, baby. And this, again, isn't even the ideal data disc because I just couldn't quite get what I want. But in the situation where you can just get a couple of turns out there or get lots of mass swarms out the get-go or try to find some way passively to get the Jawas or some other team to apply debuffs, things are going to work out very nicely. Because, like, again, these teams that are so fast, they should be applying thermal detonators on their own because they're taking so many turns, getting costly emissions to apply. But nonetheless, lots and lots of fun. So I think there might be some other useful data discs. Like, for example, I got Perseverance. Perseverance has been a pretty fun data disc that I've been using for a while here. But I think the thermal detonators is going to be the best one. Get costly emissions. Let them have their preloaded Terminator over-prepared. They're going to take so many turns. Get so many damage over times. Translating the thermal detonators, it's just going to compound into a giant mess for them. Basically, it's a ticking time bomb for the enemy. They only have so much time to kill you off before they kill themselves off. And I think that right there is gonna be the ticket to get us as far as possible in these next few conquests. Doesn't mean I like where Conquest is. Still lots of problems that we have going on with it, but I'm hoping that this will at least make it more manageable, because definitely the past few conquests, one of my biggest complaints was the data discs are not all that exciting. It was basically just health and protection regeneration was the meta combination, where it seems like the meta combination here is going to be milking those thermal detonators. And there we go. Like, see, there's so, like, I don't need extra potency. Boy, some of these data discs are pretty bad, but luckily these thermal exhausts, they've been popping up in a good chunk of places. So thermal exhaust, costing emissions, and if you can't get costing emissions, next best thing, in my opinion, is going to be to take advantage of those volatile accelerators that might be popping up there. So hopefully that's helpful. Again, I am very cognizant of the fact that you might not get any of these, but you might be getting a few of them, because thermal exhausts, all the thermal detonators seem to be semi-popular from my room, but that doesn't mean it's the same for everyone else. I wish they would just find a way. They could easily find a way. We've talked about this. We're at the end of a sector. You beat the boss. You can pick any data disk you want. That would be so nice. Make this a little bit more manageable. Anyways, hopefully this tip was helpful to help you hack your way to max grade and hopefully Boba Fett, Scion of Jango. Leave a like, comment down below. What data disc are you enjoying? What other tips and tricks are you doing besides just not playing Conquest? I'll see you guys in the next video, but always remember, until then, it's great to be in the Empire today.